agenda?
No. Move to approve.
Okay, and I'll second. And since we haven't gotten hold of Steve yet, we'll go ahead and with no further discussion, go ahead and pass that.
You have to
Approve
vote.
it.
Barb, you have to vote.
Okay, so,
All in favor?
yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, we're good. All right, and then we've got the minutes. And we do need to make sure it goes on the next minutes that we are having a closed, technically, well, it's an open meeting, but it's closed to the public. And we do have one public person here who we have informed that they will not be able to come next week. And this is due to the coronavirus, and this is for the safety of everyone. And just give us a call if you can't figure out how to use our web or the phone. And that should all be posted online. And I know some meetings I've been to, it actually works better just using the phone. I could hear better, but that really varies from meeting to meeting. Okay, Stan, do you have any concerns or changes with the minutes?
Not with the minutes and not with the claims.
Okay, and no further discussion. All in favor of the minutes and claims standing as is? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's passed. And electronic meetings, was that just basically what we were going to talk about as far as what I just mentioned, that it would all be online, at least temporarily?
You forgot the county attorney.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. I have no general discussions.
Yeah, and I gave you some information from one of my meetings to look over in your leisure.
Yeah, the electronic meetings was just like what you just
To explain,
explained.
okay.
Unless there are other comments or questions.
Yeah, I maybe while our attorney is here though, see if you see any concerns with this. Our public health has been wonderful about keeping us updated as far as the coronavirus. But it's kind of, they get so much information, it's in several emails. And so I wanted something for our employees here at the courthouse that was on one sheet that kind of told the basics of what they needed to know. And so if you guys would peek at that and tell me if you're okay with that, with me giving something like that to our employees.
Can I write on this if I have some?
Yes, you sure can.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's something you can inform me later.
Okay.
And if you guys have no problems, is that kind of a general consensus that we would go ahead and put this out? Do you have any problems, do you think, Stan?
No.
Okay, you guys look at it later and just let me know what you think. Okay. We gotta wait a few minutes for drawing our lots for the elections till 1:45. Discussing this coronavirus and its effects, I guess I already talked about that I'd like to put this out for our employees. Just so people are aware, all 99 counties have closed their courthouses to the public. I'm a little concerned with daycares. I'm kind of hoping, to be honest, that the churches have been asking how they can help. And I think that wouldn't be a bad idea that they each tried to take 10 kids in, since that's what's allowable at the moment, and help out with that. Because our daycare is desperately needed, yet it's got to be crowded right now, and I would think going to get closed down or something. It's hard to say yet. Anyway, that's just my suggestion. And I did send to Renee Broker that, Von Broken, that sheet I gave you, and she thought it was a good idea. Do you guys have anything else to add to this?
Yes. Basically, what we have here is really two different issues. We have a health issue that our health people are very concerned about, but we also have an economic issue. And basically, this is an area that I think the county is going to have to not only be aware of, but there very well might be people that are going to need food or need some other assistance, financial assistance, and I think the county at this point in time should be able to step up and assist. Cerro Gordo closed their food bank, for instance. What if you have some people that really absolutely need food and they have no money? I think, again, this is where the county should step up. I think we can defer to County Attorney Walk to ask at this point in time, are these type of issues really public issues that we can be doing, in his opinion?
I've always stated about 99% of the time, I can say, yes, this serves a public purpose. And serving the needs of the citizens of the county, that's what you're here for. That's the purpose of the board. And so I can absolutely justify if you've got some type of program in place that you can say, I could say, yes, that serves a public purpose. Now, whether you choose to do it or not, that's your call. I'm just saying, I think you have the, in my opinion, and the AG's office said it's my opinion that controls, I would say you've got the authority to do it.
Well, and going maybe one step further, a lot of our small businesses, it all depends on what the federal government does, and to a lesser extent the state government. And right now, I don't see any needed action, but we should even be in a position in the future here, the near future, that if we had to be able to use TIF dollars for helping out some of these small businesses and that, and because we want to keep our main streets viable. That's one of the last things we want to have is really economic problems for years to come. And so we at least should have the authority to do something. Not that we're going to, but again, to be realistic about this, if you talk to the health people, they would just as soon have us stay hunkered down for weeks at a time. Economically, that's going to be a disaster. And if you're watching what's really being done on the news and that, what they don't want is this big spike right now of a lot of illnesses. We can't handle it. They know these illnesses are going to come, but they want more of a flat curve that 8, 10, 12 months later, you're also going to have people getting sick and you're going to have people dying. But you're also going to have the economy working. And so at some point in time, I mean, we've got to be able to look at each group and where does it, how do the two fit in or match, or I don't know what you really want to say, but we can't hunker down for months at a time, and yet again we can't just up tomorrow and start socializing neither. There's a point in time, I mean, the two have to converge somewhere along the line.
I totally agree with you as far as that, down the road. I think we probably will have to help. We're gonna just have to wait and see as far as which areas need help most. Because like you said, the federal and state, they're both working on some packages that are supposed to help small business. I know FEMA has talked about helping small businesses even. So that'll be interesting how that comes out. And that's supposed to be, I mean, they're literally in the process of that, so I wouldn't think that'd be too much longer. I don't know about using TIF, because we do have some extra money, well, maybe after budget time. And so we might be able to just help that way. But yes, I think that there is at some point we're gonna have to help, and that's okay by me, yeah.
Well, we're all in this together, and we gotta try to make everybody come out of this as best we can.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, because there's gonna be people that might lose their homes, and they're, you know, they've already lost their livelihood. And I can speak from family members that that's happening to already, so. Yeah.
Mark, Greg, you got any comments?
No, I agree that if we can't get the assistance we need from the state level, if we can do it at the county level, that's a good thing. What that looks like is gonna be up to you guys, what type of program plan you put together, but if we can help in any way, we need to try and do that.
And you can help update us too, what areas you find are seeming to need more help. Would be
Well, it's
helpful.
gonna take more than the three of us putting our heads together. Like you say, this thing, it's new territory.
I think it would be a bad idea to reach out to your city council members in Riceville and St. Ansgar and Osage, get some input from them folks,
Mhm.
your economic development people, Chamber of Commerce people.
We touched a little bit on it at economic development.
Private donations.
Right, oh yeah, we can set up something for private donations, you bet. Okay, definitely we're gonna have to do something down the road here, yep. Thanks for bringing it up. Okay, draw lots to determine the supervisor district terms for the 2020 elections, and that's a case of, for the 5 supervisors, the first 2 that you pull will have 2-year terms, and the rest will have 4-year terms, correct?
If that's, let's make
That-
it clear,
That's what
Okay.
we had
get that in the
discussed
notes.
last week, so
First 2 or 2 years?
2 years.
Okay,
So we had actually asked the judge, and she's working from home too, so.
okay, District 1,
Mark's going to do it for it.
District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5. You want to draw?
Sure.
That way no one can say I did.
A public hearing.
You're last hurrah.
Draw one more.
Okay, for the 2-year terms, District 3 and 1, District 1 and 3,
What
for
district are you
2-year
in?
terms.
What's that?
What district are you in?
4. That's why I wanted to have these first, because I never win this.
Okay, so we know that means 2, 4, and 5 will be 4 years. Okay, I know there's a lot of people listening, we're very curious about that. All right, thank you, Mark and Charlie. Okay, and we pretty much discussed the coronavirus and sheriff. I want to tell you something quick before I forget. I did pass on to public health your idea because I knew they were going to be talking to the clergy about the possibility of riding along if you had
Sure.
some like
Yep.
domestic abuse or whatever.
Yep, and I have a list of,
And so
5
hopefully
or
they
6.
pass that on.
yeah, we've talked,
Oh, good.
so we're good to go there.
Okay.
So Thursday this week, the hospital employees will start mobile testing for Corona-19 at the fairgrounds. So there's a screening process that folks need to go through. It's not that you can just show up, but you have to call the hospital for pre-screening. And if you are someone that's eligible to be tested, then you'll act on the advice that they provide you over the phone to allow that to happen. Our involvement as a sheriff's office will be at the completion of the testing, and the testing hours, I believe, are going to be from 10 to 2. We will take those samples into the appropriate testing facility. That may be Mercy Hospital in Mason City, or it might be the State Hygienics Lab in Corville. Us running it speeds up the time for testing and test results. So we're going to do that for them on Thursday, Friday. We may also have a trip Saturday morning. They will not test over the weekend and then evaluate and see if they'll test again next week.
Okay,
But
and
they'll
so
put
will
out
they call the clinic first, or?
Just watch the, they're going to put out public service announcements on it. Or the County Social Services webpage will have what they need to do, instructions to follow to allow that to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably have some overtime and mileage. We'll keep track of all that. If there's some reimbursement possibilities later through FEMA, at least we'll have the records of it.
Yes,
And-
definitely, everybody
we'll
keep
submit.
records of whatever.
Yep. We have 2 in. We're holding a homicide suspect for Floyd County. And then we have one of our own in for 3rd-degree sex abuse, multiple counts. So we do have 2 in. Taking all the precautions that Iowa Department of Public Health requires us to do and try to keep everybody safe. And then finally, what is the county's position if we need to send an employee home to self-isolate because of a possible exposure? Do we pay those folks like they were at work, or is that an unemployment issue?
No, I think we should be paying them
As if they were,
as if they were, and the same thing again, that your office keeps track of how many hours,
in case
how
we
many
can
days or
prevent
whatever,
it.
that this may be a reimbursable.
okay.
But,
No.
no, I really don't feel that,
If somebody wants to stay home because they're afraid, but they really don't have anything wrong with them, then they would have to use their sick pay and their vacation pay up. But for something like
Okay.
that, no, we're paying.
So they have to have a positive test then? Is that what you're saying, in order to be paid by the county?
Well, there's some extenuating circumstances. We have one that has bad asthma, and her child has bad asthma, but she can actually do our work from home, and so we are allowing that and paying for it, and she doesn't have a doctor's.
I think that's important. We should have doctors' excuses to put in their files.
Well, the problem is right now is they're actually, public health even, they're telling you not necessarily to make your doctor have to sign this because they're so overwhelmed, swamped. Yeah, because I agree, I think we should have something in there, but unfortunately, that's just.
I just
how-
want it to be consistent. I want to do it the way everybody else is doing it, because employees will compare notes. So,
And I'll make sure you get a copy of what I worked on to give employees. I just want the guys to have a chance to look at it first.
okay. That's all I have, thank you.
I think you should have a motion and vote on this. Do you agree, Mark?
Well, my opinion is Greg's an elected official. He can run his office the way he wants to. You're an elected official. You can run your office the way you want to. The Board of Supervisors can make recommendations, but they cannot dictate to. Now, if you're talking about some other department that you guys have control over, you know, I don't know, home health care, do you guys control home health care, or does the Board of Health control that?
The Board of Health technically, oh,
Yeah,
there's some gray areas in there
yeah,
though.
so I don't know, you know,
I can make that decision for my employees and Mark, whatever.
I believe you can, yes.
Okay. I'll do that, thank you.
Now, the Board of Supervisors can make recommendations that we're recommending that all elected officials do, you know.
And I tried to be careful how I worded some of this. You can, that's why I want you to look at it.
I guess, I think what I'm hearing from you and I'm hearing from everybody is, as long as everybody's using common sense and nobody's trying to work the system, we won't pay them. If you think somebody's trying to work the system, oh, I'm staying home because, and they're just trying to use it as vacation, no? And
But I also get your point, it's nice if we can be fairly consistent with all
So
of us.
not use sick leave then? I think that needs to be clear.
What'd you say, Lowell?
Not use sick leave then, or if they're gonna stay home? I think we need to determine this.
If they're staying home because they're not sick,
Yeah,
okay, what do you think, Stan? If they stay home just because they're fearful,
No, if they're just staying home because they're fearful, why, then it's either vacation or,
can they use sick pay? He's asking. I'd say vacation for sure, but,
I mean, sick pay is, you're sick.
right, so,
And if you're not sick, you shouldn't be getting sick leave.
okay, so they could use their vacation.
or determine to get and go without pay.
I was looking through to see how if I had worded that anywhere in here. Have to look over it again later. Okay, so we're thinking they stay home by choice, then they would have to use vacation. And when that runs out, if they still choose to stay home, are they going to be possibly out of a job? What do you think, Stan?
Well, again, if they're staying home by choice, that's vacation. And if they wanna, if they used up all their vacation and they still wanna stay home, I guess it's up to the department head what they wanna do with their employee.
I was gonna say, yeah, it probably would depend on that, how valuable their work is needed, if somebody needs to be doing it.
Some counties are discussing whether it's non-essential or essential employees. So
Right.
whether they're coming in or
And
not.
that kind of depends on
And some
what
of them
the
are
department head
splitting their
thinks.
shifts, and a couple come one day, and then the next day the others will come.
But then if they only have them there part of the time, are they just getting paid part of the time?
Just depends what circumstance, if it's because of this virus.
That's why it's so important, and I mentioned that in here about break rooms, that I'm concerned of, they're too close together in the break room.
They've been setting apart.
Good,
They started that last week,
excellent, glad to hear.
but usually there's not that many there at one time. Some people just come in and grab coffee and leave again,
Sure,
or something out of the fridge.
yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think we actually need to make a motion on?
Well, if you're creating policy, I think we need to have something in writing so that everything is consistent. We can't say, well, you're treating this person different than another person. That's the last thing you wanna do is pick and choose.
Do we wanna do this without Steve here? Cause chances are we can stuff like this will wait one more week.
Need be, you can always call a special meeting. If need be.
Opinion, Mark?
My opinion is the same as before. I think you could make recommendations, but I do not think you can control what an elected official does with their office. So if you want to come up with a policy, that's fine. The problem is, I think it just can't be something this quick. I think you guys need to sit down and put something in writing. You can distribute it to the other parties, but you can't discuss it between yourselves. You have to distribute it and then discuss it, during a meeting. So, that's my opinion.
Okay, I don't want to rush on this.
No, I agree, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we need to have some direction by you guys that we all follow on.
And
Things
maybe
I'm
we
reading with
wanna
what counties are doing.
Think about that.
Well, why not here at the courthouse, Pat and Shannon and you sit down and you guys come up with, that way it's consistent.
I would like the
You're the ones-
department heads in on this.
You're the
yes.
ones that really,
So far, there hasn't been any requests, but, to know if somebody does.
It doesn't hurt to have some of this in place.
Yeah.
What, I think
I
that's a
know,
good.
and this is, we're in uncharted territory, this is all
Exactly.
new, so, but we wanna, I think, use common sense and do what's fair, and treat people equally.
I do like Stan's idea of maybe you and the department heads
Okay.
meeting and then letting us know what you come up with. Maybe we can put that on the agenda to discuss next week, or you can send it out to all of us
Okay.
separately so we can be thinking about it. Okay. Let's move on then. County engineer, is he still on the line?
Yeah, he is. He texted me. He is driving in, but I think he is still on the line. If you want to unmute him,
Well, okay.
Rich, do you want to talk now, or?
I'm actually on my way up to I couldn't hear a lot of what was going on.
Okay, you want us to just wait a couple minutes? We have other things we can
If you're,
discuss.
if you're willing to wait, because I still wanted, I couldn't hear the whole conversation very well. It was kind of garbly, and I thought it was gonna work better, but I'll be there in just a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Okay, meetings attended. Okay, North Iowa Community Action in Mason City. This is the last meeting I attended in person. All of mine are going viral now. Officers will be Tim Latham for president, Joel Voklander for vice, and Jim Erb for treasurer. They sent out surveys to find out the needs and what we needed to know for grants and such, and we're disappointed that they had very little feedback. Well, they revamped and went from 79 questions to 18, and I think they'll have much better luck next time with a lot less questions. They, like everyone, had to make changes for the corona. Head Start had to actually close. They send activities home to work with the kids, and they call the families weekly. They also call ahead, and they'll leave on their porch steps diapers, wipes, that kind of thing. And they hold phone meetings, and if they do in person, they disinfect between each client. And we had some leftover funds, so they were used for the I Smile dental program. We're going after grants for extra staff for kids facing trauma and special needs. Expansion of Head Start centers, possibly in Mason City and Charles City. And right now there are 243 students from the 9 counties. I went to Home Trust and I got that conservation loan taken care of for lowering the interest to 2.7. That's taken care of and given on to Lowell. Iowa workforce development. We CEOs had a large discussion on whether to merge with 2 other regions, which would be 1 and 7. We talked with 2 people who gave conflicting opinions on what we should be doing. One thought we should do it and therefore not risk losing our one stop in Mason City. On the other side, they said we would receive more dollars if we're merging. So the bottom line is the local board, not the CEOs, which I'm part of, the supervisors are part of, will have to step up to the plate and do more and meet more often. And as it's the CEOs, we'll have more meetings and committees that we will have to be more involved with until we become compliant. So for the next few months, the CEOs, me, will be ultra busy with extra meetings, but eventually it would be a case of the rest of the board would have to be stepping up and doing more. Mark Smeedy of Worth County made the motion to merge the regions, and it was passed. The 2 meetings that merged into together lasted over 2.5 hours, and this was the one that I passed on to you, Mark, the sample 28E agreement and bylaws for him to critique. So, because that is something that we are going to have to do to become compliant fairly soon, actually. Let's see, I had a meeting with the service center and at the service center with the supervisors. All supervisors attended. Management, Chris, emergency management, Chris Olson, public health, that would be Jessa and Laura, the school superintendent, the mayors of Osage and Riceville, our city clerk, the hospital administrator, and an EMS employee, 3 more from public health, and all were sitting several feet apart. That's a large room up there, so that accommodated well. I don't want to sensationalize the information given, but the facts were grim. And they are talking possibly up to 18 months. It was predicted, according to how things have been going, that our North Iowa area, and I'm not sure how much that covers, but the administrator predicted 14,000 admissions and 700 deaths. I don't say that for drama, I just say it to make you realize how serious this is. And summer months, like people seem to think, it does not dissipate the virus, as that rumor goes. The good news are people are pulling together. Children aged birth to 18 can get milk and bagged meals from the school. It's a drive-up type thing. OMU is helping get internet to students that don't have it. The churches, I think I mentioned my idea of a way that they would possibly help. And the sheriff had suggested that the clergy maybe even ride along with them when they have issues such as domestic abuse or some kind of mental concern. And I plan on encouraging legislators to come up with a plan to help with small businesses that may or already are forced to close. There's a possibility FEMA might help the small businesses. And you can encourage shop local while possible. And those that do get laid off, will do anything in our power not to do that here. But if you do, go after unemployment. And they recommended kids not get together with other kids, so forget the play dates right now. Something else people could help with is to offer to get your elderly neighbors food picked up. And the pharmacy's closed, but they would deliver for them too, or you can pick up. Mental health, I think is going to become an even bigger issue. And we're trying to, but unfortunately it's hard to get hold of, have enough hand sanitizer on hand for each employee and the Clorox wipes. And I see Mark brought his home, and I brought some from, a spray from home myself too, just in case, because I wasn't sure where we were at here for supplies. County Social Services, the Human Services Committee met virtually with how to handle the coronavirus with our social service employees. And if they need to isolate, care for a child with it, we will encourage them using their medical leave and PTO. That was decided. Those that we do not have enough work for, we will try to, and that's something we could do here too, we'll try to move them into other departments that perhaps need more help. If they must absolutely be laid off, the government is saying they should have no problem with getting unemployment. And if they are just scared to come into work, as we talked earlier, they can work from home, but not just stay home and get paid for doing nothing. Economic development, we met by phone last night also. Mark Jensen's going to send us all a Small Business Association video to watch. A 3-bedroom loan was approved for Lynn Heeman, but that'll be on next week's agenda. We're in the process of working on a 60-day review for Tracy and an evaluation on Tony. And here's my reminder to the rest of Economic Development to send their suggestions in to me before the 27th. And if you don't want to fill out the whole survey, just give me a couple sentences of your opinions. And we want to compile, we talked about compiling a list of businesses who would be most vulnerable due to the coronavirus. And we decided that we're going to try to lower the interest on the revolving loan funds for a period. And ask Director Tony for more information, because he wants to get some opinions first from Harlan Bisbee on that too, who was unable to attend our meeting. I'm done.
I basically had the same Coronas meetings that you did. The other one was Saturday. I did have a call from a local corporation again, very concerned. They had to lay their employees all off, and they explained that if this is a perfect storm, it'll probably put them out of business. And so they were wondering again what options that possibly the county could have and to assist. But it would take a perfect storm in order to basically corral them, put them under. So been getting a few phone calls from, like I say, the general public wondering what's going on, and that's been my meetings.
All right, I know we still need board appointments. We still need someone for NIACOG, and we do have one person who has sent in their resume.
Tony's secretary might very well be interested.
Okay, yeah, so have her, like this person, write up maybe their kind of experience with that type of work. And we won't make a decision yet, but we'll have to soon, because I'm sure they want somebody.
Well, we don't need anybody until the May meeting.
Yeah, now did you have, is that on our website for NIACOG too?
It is now.
Okay, because I know we have it on there for North Iowa Regional Housing Authority. That's on there, right?
What one did he just send me?
The North Iowa Housing.
Oh, that's the one I put up there.
Oh, okay. You might want to get information to Casey so we can get that online quick. That's what I did with the Housing Authority, because the person I thought I was hoping would do it is too busy, wasn't able to, so I had him put it on our site.
Okay?
And while we're waiting, oh, Rich is here, sorry, he snuck in. Okay, Rich, go for it.
Sorry, I thought the system would work better than it did. It was garbly, so I didn't get to hear your whole conversation of working from home and whatnot, but I can get that from you guys later if that comes
We're
out.
actually going to be discussing it more. We're having the department heads get together with Lowell.
When will that be?
And, well,
Well, and also remember, all department heads except myself are elected, so you
Not
guys,
all of them.
No.
well, okay, most.
Assessors.
Okay, there's two of us that take more direction from the board than being elected officials. That's where my question came to you yesterday is, I'm a department head, but I also feel I need to, at some point in time, sometimes need to get stuff cleared through you guys. Maybe I don't, maybe you don't want me to. I can tell you right now, this is before I get into I know there are other county engineers' offices and secondary roads that are completely shutting down. They're sending all their work. Buchanan just sent an email this morning. Buchanan County sent all their secondary roads employees home. They're on an on-call basis until April 6th, and then they'll evaluate then. So, and they're all getting paid. So just so you know what other counties are doing, I know Winnesheet County's office is working from home too. There's ways we can work from home, but I don't know how, each county's doing something a little different, but there are some counties that they just decided yesterday, the Board of Supervisors said that everybody's going home. So,
See, I guess I thought your department of any would be a little bit other than the office people.
we're less risk,
Yeah,
but
because
you
they
know,
only stayed in their own motor
but when you got
grader
days
and-
when it's raining out and they're working, right now they're taking snow equipment off. And it's hard to stay 6 foot from the other person when you need somebody to turn a bolt and somebody to hold the nut, So there's things like that that happen, and while we're at low risk, I think that, this is a serious issue. I mean, 2 weeks ago I just said this is blown out of proportion, but the more stuff I read, the more stuff that's out there, it's kind of scary. And there are people that are really highly susceptible if they get it, that it could not be good.
I
And so,
mentioned to them earlier that you have an employee that works in the office with asthma and a child with asthma. And we want the department heads to get together with Lowell to give us their questions and their suggestions, and then we'll kind of compile it all together and see if we can't actually get some action voted in for policy. Now,
and the
Mark
issue
told us.
isn't being scared to work in the office, it's being scared to catch something and take it home.
Oh, yeah.
Because if that individual gets it, it's not good. If you've got asthma and when you wake up in the morning just without having an infection in your lungs, and you have asthma and it's hard to breathe, I don't know what would happen if
And
somebody that
that's
had
also
asthma
one of
had
the
this virus.
Harder symptoms to deal with is the
I'm just
not
going
being
by
able to
what
breathe.
I've read on the CDC and other
Yeah.
websites, and that is an underlying condition that people don't have a choice whether they have asthma or not. And so, anyway, that was what my concern was yesterday, and I just wanted to let you guys know, because there are probably ways we can do this. I want to be fair to everybody, but not everybody has an underlying condition. And Mark, I don't know what you guys had talked about. It was kind of garbly, so I don't know what everybody else's thought was. But that was the situation I'm in now, and by all rights, we could probably work from home. But is that something that you guys will accept or not accept?
Okay,
Because I know there's that issue of, are they working or are they not working? I got stuff to do. I'm not gonna be watching TV, but if it comes down to it, I'll send everybody else home and I'll come to the office. It's not whether I get it, it's whether I give it to somebody else.
Now, Mark said technically we really don't have the right to be telling you guys, we can make recommendations, but when he's not an elected official, how is that?
That's what I said. I said, you guys, over the elected officials, and then I had asked like, home health care. But they're under the Board of Health. He is under you, he's not an elected official, so you,
We need to give some direction.
yes.
Okay, I'd still like to see what Lowell's group comes up with.
Like you say, right now, no one has requested, but I think we need to be thinking ahead here in case someone does that.
Well, right now,
What is our thoughts?
right now, if that individual does have asthma, I would let that individual work for home, but the
That's
rest,
what I thought.
the rest of you, I mean, you're basically staying apart, like you say, if you have to once in a while with taking off snow equipment, two might have to work together, but
Cause I don't know how I'd feel if something happened and somebody ended up dying over this because we were too stingy to not pay somebody to work at home.
Oh, yeah, no,
And
Stan and I.
that's me
both-
right now, I'm kinda fired up.
No, that-
Stan and
That's
I
scary
both
stuff.
agree that she should go home.
yeah, we have no problem
Yeah.
with that.
Alright,
But I
When
mean,
you
if
guys-
everybody else is healthy, basically, let's keep
we're doing
working.
what we can to keep our.
When you
space.
guys are working on that stuff, that's a case of those wipes and those hand sanitizers should be right there, sitting beside them.
Right, we don't have enough of that stuff, we never have.
Well,
And we're not gonna s-
supposedly, public health did get some hand sanitizer in that you could possibly fill. Would that, do you think, Casey?
I mean,
they
they've
could do
got
that?
soap and
I
water,
have no
which is
idea.
just as effective as
Oh, well,
sanitizer.
yeah.
But I mean, they're
Well,
not,
it's actually better, soap
it's,
and water.
and they're not right at, you know, when they're taking their equipment off, they're not right at the system. But I mean, they've been notified of how they're supposed to stay away and keep cleaning. So that's beyond that. It was more of, what do I do with somebody with an underlying health condition? Because Worth County's been a little different, where they said if somebody's got an underlying health condition, they said, we're gonna pay them, we'll worry about how it comes out later, because we feel that there's gonna be some aid coming through. We're just documenting why. I've got an individual in Worth County that has a serious underlying health condition. I sent him home the first day he's been home for over a week now, because I don't want him getting sick. I don't want it, because he's highly susceptible too. And we're paying him his full wage. He's a part-time employee, but we're still paying him everything as if he was there working. He's not working, but it's just one of those things where each county is doing something different.
You have to do a case by case sometimes.
Right, but then you've got the people, it's not fair to me. Well, you know what? Nothing is fair to me,
Well,
you know?
nothing else
So anyway,
is fair.
that was my concern. I just want to make sure that you guys are okay with what I'm going to do, because I think it's important. That's me.
Well, we both said yes, and I can't imagine Steve's gonna be against that.
So, this isn't taking sick time, this isn't taking vacation, this is, all right, we'll work through that, and I don't know if.
Well, she's still gonna be working.
Right, there's some things we need to work out as far as other things that, when we get bills and stuff like that, we'll figure that part out, we can manage through
We
that.
can talk about
We can get through that, I think we'll get through it, it's not a big issue, so, and maybe Casey can have, if there's a laptop, we can set up, or whatever, we'll figure something out. I just wanted to find out what I can do here, because it's, So anyway, what I have for you today is, I want to try to bring the DOT budget program to you next week, so we can approve it. It's got to be approved by the 15th. And so, you've got the county budget, and I try to keep everything parallel from the county budget to the DOT budget, but from December until now, budget's always changed, because we just barely start winter when I turn in the county budget, and now we're almost done with winter. And so the numbers change, but the most important thing, so that's something that I've talked to Lowell about putting on the agenda for next week. But the most important thing right now is, I had a project in the program, it was Balsam Avenue, going from Highway 9 up to Carpenter in the program to use farm to market funding for, but Foothill Avenue isn't gonna make it another 3 years. So I've been working with NIACOG. Foothill Avenue was gonna use our STBG swap money, which was our federal aid money, and that was programmed for 2023. I don't think that road's gonna last till 2023. So I've been working with NIACOG yesterday and today, and they've approved it. I'm gonna pull Foothill Avenue and advance that to this coming year, and take Balsam and put it in the STBG swap fund for 2023. That road is structurally more stable. The surface is a little bit oxidized and ugly, but structurally it's fine. Foothill Avenue's got some severe wheel running, and you're talking about 1,200 vehicles a day on Foothill versus 390 on Balsam. So there's a high amount of traffic running on Foothill right now that I think we need to kind of get it before we completely lose it. So they're working with me. I'm going to get some additional funding for Balsam when that comes through, because it's a longer stretch. And then, so potentially next year, if I'm allowed to borrow ahead as much as it's going to happen for farm to market, we'll have Kirkwood Avenue being constructed next year. We'll have south of Totterville being constructed next year, and we'll have Foothill being constructed next year, if the money is available. The farm to market money is probably going to be tapped out for a while, and then after that, we'll have a couple of years where we won't be able to spend any farm to market money. That's if I can borrow ahead, because we're looking at about $5 million worth of farm to market funds next year. Right now, we're at 1.2 million.
Are we talking concrete again for Foothill?
I'm evaluating both, because I know with shoulders and with side slopes, we can go up and we can do a cold in place recycle on Foothill and raise it'll probably raise the grade maybe about 4 inches. If we do a concrete, I'm not going to put anything less than 6 inches down, and it's going to have fiber in it. So we're raising the grade 6 inches versus 4. That kind of changes. So I got to evaluate it, but I'm hoping I can do concrete.
I mean, we tend to get a lot longer life.
I understand. I'm a concrete guy. You don't have to explain it to me, but I need to know. I got to make sure the money is there, and I got to make sure what's right is right. So that's my first evaluation, and is looking at the concrete, and that's where I budgeted the money for. But if they don't let me borrow ahead, I either put it off another year or we go to asphalt or something else. So, but yes, that's something I want to look at. But I need to swap them over. I just wanted to let you know
We do
that.
have options too, I mean, if the board will go with some options.
Yep, and it's not going to get any better. It's, when you look at what's out there and what's cycling through, we tap out the farm to market fund for.
Well, there's one big spot in Foothill right now
Yep.
that's,
It's
5,
blowing
6
out.
feet. Yeah, it's blowing out.
It's-
And,
yep.
Others are coming. I mean,
Yep,
you can
yep,
see it.
you can see it. Yep, and that's why I said we got to switch it around because the traffic is heavier there, and it's just not going to last as long as the other ones. So just so you guys know, and we went through. We're supposed to have our meeting on Thursday with the NIACOG or District 2 group. We're not meeting face to face. We did a lot of stuff by email. We'll probably do stuff by phone. They've approved my change, so we're good. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's what's going to happen. We're going to switch some stuff around to try to advance the project. All in all, it really didn't affect any of the NIACOG money. It's just swapping one road for another and using, and the funding we had for what I estimated for Balsam is almost matching what is on Foothill based on what product we use on each project. So I just needed to let you guys know that. So that's what I've got for you, and like I said, I just wanted some clarification on what to do with employees, because like I said, I think it's going to get a lot worse, and I don't want to take something home to my family, and I don't want somebody to take something home to their family where they know they have underlying conditions. And we've locked our door. It's been very, very quiet. Nobody's come in other than the road foreman when we come in and have our discussions, or maybe we can meet outside or whatever. We're trying to limit that, but you just never know.
Well, thanks for the heads up on the roads.
Any questions?
Yeah, have you looked into possibly contracting diesel yet?
Haven't called it. I know when we talked about this a couple years ago, we talked to Johnson Oil about how to contract, and they were up in arms. They couldn't figure out how to contract it efficiently because of our number 1 and number 2 quantities that we use.
Well, but
I'm just telling you what they're telling us, what
yeah,
they told
I'm
us.
understanding that, but there's a long period of time between now and November when you're gonna need number 1.
Sure, yes.
And so, if you know in the summertime that you normally need, let's just say, throw a number out.
Yep.
Let's say 20,000 gallons.
Yep.
Between
And
now and November,
And that's one thing we can look at is say, okay, we're only gonna contract number 1, and number 2 will be whatever it is, because we have to blend it. And I know that the school was supposed to call, they were talking about wanting to find a way to share a fill system or whatever. I haven't gotten any contact from them yet. So there's some things to talk about with that situation too. And if they added to our system, there'd be more to contract for. But and they're pretty consistent on what they use per year, other than I suppose this year, without 2 months of school being shut down. But yeah, when we talked about it last time, they were trying to figure out how they could even come up with a contract to make it work. So we'll try to evaluate it again and see what.
When was
Jim
that?
Jim keeps a record of how many gallons of diesel we buy every year, and it's never ever the same. And obviously there's a certain threshold to where we could go to our minimum for the last 10 years and contract the minimum. And then you can also probably look at number 2, but winter there's so many, it's a living, breathing thing to figure out how many gallons we're gonna use in a year, but
Even minimum would be.
well, and I suppose it would benefit us. I mean, we contract it, we take bids once a month to get the best price that we can get for that month. So, we'll look into it again.
Yeah, I think you should. Okay. Oh, that's all, Rich, thank you. Okay, we haven't had any call-ins, have we, with public comments?
No, and I don't see any,
Do you have any?
I have one.
Okay,
I've been coming to these meetings for 17 years, and this is gonna be the first time I'm ever gonna be missing any, except for when I was on trips or in the hospital. It's gonna be quite different for me to sit at home some more.
we're gonna miss you. We are. But
I
we,
miss this.
but we also want you safe. Want you safe.
One thing I would just comment on, based upon Rich's comments, I don't know, can you hook microphones up or something? Because Rich said he had a hard time.
I could hear Barb really well, and I don't know if it's because her voice is translating towards the microphone. I could hear, but anything else was kind of garbly, and so I don't know if it,
what I'll do is I'll do a test run before next week and just,
we were using Zoom in Worth County. Of course, their boardroom is about a quarter of the size, and it was really good. I mean, we could do a lot of stuff there, but
Yeah, my meetings have been so different. Some I can hear great
Do you
and
have any
see great,
comments
and
to add?
others I'm like,
Other
I
than
can't hear a
didn't
thing.
work.
you know, I don't know if it would matter if you're gonna limit the public in here, you close one wall so it doesn't bounce around and you're just confined in a smaller area to keep the sound in a closer confined
I don't know.
space. I don't know, I'm not an acoustical engineer, but, it was, I could hear Barb, I could hear you just fine, and I don't know if it's because your voice was throwing toward there, and I don't know, Stan, you might have been talking away from the mic and I couldn't really hear you very well. Everything else was kinda quiet and garbly over here.
Steve just called, said he couldn't get it to work.
I noticed there were, I don't know if there were like 5 online. I don't know if they could
6
hear
or
it.
8 was the most.
I'm still online because I didn't want to take the time to.
There's only 2 now.
All right, if there's no more discussion, the meeting is adjourned.